Hello there. It's been a long time. Very long. Not expected to be this long. I had plans at the beginning of 2025, as I'm sure all of you did. And there were plans that I felt very confident God had given me. And I should have known something was up when my verse for the year was, "Be still and know that I am God." I didn't realize when he said, "Be still and know," that he literally meant it was going to be a year of me being still. And you yourself have been in such a season where you had plans and then life happened. Go grab your favorite drink and grab a lovely snack and let's get going. I am Dr. Tracy Dickens, a psychologist, and if you are new here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about plans and life disrupting those plans, or more like God disrupting those plans. And let you know what I've been up to this past year, what was my life disruption, and because of that disruption, what I plan on doing on this channel for the future. In 2023, after many years of friends and family telling me I need to do something with my baking, I finally asked God, should I do a business with my baking? And literally the next week, I had multiple people ask me to make cookies for them for the holidays. So I was like, well, could it be any more clear than that? So I set about setting up this business. I got an LLC. I got a great logo, great name. I had some taste testings. I met lots of people. I gave out lots of free cookies. I started getting orders for cookies. Life was great. It was fantastic. And I even got invited to do a farmer's market. And then April happened. I finished a workout and I laid down to stretch. And when I laid down flat on my back, the room was spinning. Vertigo. Now, I have done the tango with vertigo several times in my life. And so I didn't think too much of it. I kind of knew what I needed to do. And I told my chiropractor. He didn't seem very concerned about it. And it was very intermittent. It didn't happen all the time, just every now and then. And then May came and had these other symptoms and they weren't going away. And it reminded me of when I had similar symptoms about 16, 17 years ago. And that episode lasted 3 months. I couldn't work. That's when I lived in Oklahoma. My parents came and got me and brought me back to Texas so I could see specialists and doctors, and eventually got better and went back to Oklahoma and went back to work. Everyone told me then that I may have this issue again because I didn't really know what caused it, but I would know what to do whenever it came up again. Well, it came up again and I thought I knew what to do. I went to my doctor, told her what we did the last time, and you know what? It didn't work. It did not work. I got even sicker. So sick that while I was in the middle of a therapy session, I thought I was losing my mind. I could see my hand, but I did not feel connected to it. It's like I was having like a outer body experience. I got just unbelievably nauseous. I got lightheaded, dizzy. I started shaking. I got chills. And I almost threw up. Thankfully, my client had to go, ended the session, went to stand, and was stumbling all over the place. Made it into the living room, lay down on the sofa, and an hour and a half later, I woke up. This was not normal. This was nothing like the previous time. It just led into months and months of doctor's visits and testing and all the things. And I will not go into all the details. Just know that I was really sick. I ended up taking off work. I went on family medical leave. I thought it was just going to be for a few months. It ended up being for 5 months. I did finally get a diagnosis. And some of you watching may be familiar with this, and some of you may not be familiar with it. But my first diagnosis was 3PD, which is a vestibular disorder that leaves you feeling disconnected from your body. You feel like you're walking on marshmallows, or like the floor is moving, or I don't know, maybe you're walking on clouds or something. You just don't feel like the floor is solid underneath of you. You feel dizzy, like a chronic state of motion sickness. So I was telling people it kind of felt like medicine head and motion sickness 24/7. But then I had these other symptoms that just were not relenting. And then that's when I discovered that I had vestibular migraines, which often go unnoticed because they're vestibular. So your symptoms of dizziness and nausea just kind of melt into the other symptoms of the 3PD. But oh, the pressure in the head. That is really something. So, did a lot of sitting on this lovely sofa behind me, sleeping, resting. For a while, I couldn't even cook because I would go in the kitchen, I would get so dizzy and disoriented. I couldn't gather all the ingredients to cook a meal. And when I tried to cook a meal, I couldn't remember how to actually put things in the pan to make order. I couldn't bake cookies. The business that I was directed to do, literally the only thing I could do for a while was make sourdough bread. If you're a sourdough bread maker out there, you know what I'm talking about. 3 ingredients. You only have to go in there every couple hours. It was perfect for someone who was couch bound. And then the more I learned about vestibular disorders, the more I realized that some of the foods I was eating was probably contributing to the problem. Specifically, vestibular migraines, there are a ton of foods that are triggers. Now, I'm not saying all of the foods on the list are triggers. I haven't figured them out. So right now I'm on an elimination diet. So I have eliminated a lot of the foods that I eat on a regular basis. For those of you who may not know, I am vegan. I became vegan in 2020 after doing 3 years of the Daniel's fast and realized that my chronic back pain was significantly better, and just did a lot of research and saw that a plant-based diet was the best way to deal with inflammation and chronic pain. So I had spent several years building up a lovely binder of amazing recipes, baked goods included. And now I was looking at this list of things to eliminate. And so I had to do, again, another pivot. If you guys out there, have you ever had that? You had some medical condition that suddenly just showed up on your doorstep, just banged on the door, stormed in, and just took over, flipped everything upside down, and you're expected to go in and clean up the mess. Well, that's exactly how I felt. And I'm sure you've been in scenarios like that before. Maybe it's not medical, but maybe it's a death in the family, or the loss of a job, or a friend that has betrayed you. Just this unbelievable event just comes in with all this bravado and throws everything in chaos. And that's pretty much so where I have been, and just constantly pivoting. But here's the thing, since I'm a therapist, I know a few things. So, what did I do with all this stormy bravado that was going on? Well, I'll tell you what I have been doing, and I'm going to tell you what I plan on doing. Are you ready? Are you ready to hear? Okay, well, stick around. What did I do when all of this mayhem and madness took place? Well, luckily, I am a Christ follower. I love me some Jesus. So honestly, the first thing I did was go, okay, I literally just finished reading the book of John. What did I read in that book that God may be wanting to actually give me the opportunity to have a real life, in the moment, learning and understanding of that material. So I reviewed my notes, nothing stood out. And then I thought, okay, am I being corrected? Is this like a season of correction? Was he like directing me another way? And hear me when I say this, I am by no means perfect, no means. But I wasn't doing anything that was just completely out there in left field. There have been seasons where I know I've been out there just doing the thing, and thinking God's just gonna sign off on it. And he's like, ain't happening, sis. Park it. This was not one of those seasons. I mean, I'm working out, I'm cleaning up my diet, I'm studying the word, I am doing the thing, I am walking the path, I am doing the things he has directed me to do. So this isn't a season of correction, which means this is a season of intimacy and leaning in. God is wanting to help me have a deeper understanding and to grow my faith and my trust in him. I forgot to mention this. In all of this vestibular stuff, my ability to read went out the window. My eyes just couldn't track, and so trying to read things just made me incredibly dizzy and lightheaded and nauseous. And so I couldn't Bible study like I usually do. Just want to put that out there so the rest of this will make sense. I had purchased the book God Has a Name by John Mark Comer, and I had the book, and then I found that it was on Audibles. So I listened to the book, which was amazing. Highly, highly recommend that book. It literally goes in deep detail about what Yahweh's name means. So he's just camps out in Exodus and just looks at those verses where God is giving the characteristics of his name. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And then I read a few other books, as you will see. And with the sourdough and reading the books and finding things to do around my house, I was really able to kind of keep my spirits kind of going. Because I think I forgot to mention that in all this vestibular stuff, I wasn't able to drive. So I was literally homebound. So it was like 2020, except everyone's still out living their best life, and I'm living my best sofa. Yeah. Listening to audiobooks, doing the sourdough bread, talking to friends. My mom would come and get me once a week because I had a ton of doctor's appointments and take me all over the place at the doctor's appointments. I kept my spirits pretty good. I saw this as something that would have an end in sight. And then in August, my progress suddenly came to a halt. And that's when I discovered the vestibular migraine piece. And that is when I realized, I may not be able to go back to work. That could be a problem. I've always worked. I've been working since I was 12 years old. And I found different Facebook pages and more information, and a lot of people have lost their jobs. And so now I'm freaking out. So then I literally spent a weekend where I just cried and prayed and listened to God, and I just surrendered it. I said, okay, God, if you take my job, you take my job. I've had all kinds of experiences with losing jobs, God telling me not to take a job, all kinds of things. And every single time God came through. So I trusted that if this is one of those times, there was something on the other side of the surrender. And so I was like, okay, if you take the job, then I'm going to trust you to have something for me whenever I get better. But I have an amazing supervisor. Thank you, God. And he really fought for me. And we put a lot of things in place so I could go back to work. I returned to work. I could only return part-time. But then going back to work was really hard because, as I mentioned, reading's really hard. Being on the computer is torturous. And my job is literally being on the computer. I do telehealth. I am a telehealth psychologist. So I literally sit in front of a computer all day and talk with my clients. And it was really, really painful to get everything set up. And it's better now, but it's still a challenge. And I know it's probably going to be a challenge for a little while longer. So the end of the year is here, and I'm thinking to myself, how do I plan for a year when I'm still so limited? I can drive about 2, maybe 3 miles before I get sick. I can go into stores for about 15 or 20 minutes before I'm like, gotta check out. I'm feeling a little lightheaded. The floor is doing a little wobbly business. What am I gonna do? And then I remembered that the other thing that God had kind of prompted me to do, a little nudge in my heart, was to write a book, do a Bible study, something of that nature, about Psalm 119. If you don't know Psalm 119, it is a beautiful psalm. It's the longest psalm in the Bible. It is smack dab in the middle of the Bible. It's about the sovereignty and authority and the power of God. When we align ourselves to God and His will, we have a life that is overflowing with blessings. Doesn't mean it won't have challenges, but you will see God moving in ways consistently throughout your life. And I will say, throughout all of this, there have definitely been times when I've been depressed. There's definitely been times when I've just been grieving the life I used to have, the ease I used to be able to go into places and to do things, and always having to depend on other people, just being able to be out and be social. And those things I can't do right now, but I know I will be able to do them. But I also recognize that God has sustained me. I have a job, I have money, I've paid all my bills. Truly some serious hardcore God math going on here when I'm making a fourth of my typical paycheck or half of my typical paycheck, and everything is paid for. And when I say I've had medical bills, I've had some serious medical bills, but I've paid them all. So I know that is absolutely God. I can firmly say God has been with me every single step of the way, and has been with me with every single tear, every single frustration, every single prayer, every single, did I hear correctly? Am I doing this wrong? Help me. He has been consistently there. And sometimes I feel, so undeserving of His attention, because I feel like I'm just being a whiny, complainy baby. But then there's just a reality. This is really hard. I'm a social girl, and I haven't been socializing since April. I mean, I've had a few people come over, but really socializing, getting together with a group of people hasn't happened since April. So what does all this mean for the channel? Well, I'm glad you asked. Kind of already gave you a hint about what this means for the channel. I'm going to do two things, because as I mentioned, being on the computer is really hard for me. So doing videos like this where I have to edit them and prep them and all that jazz. And if you notice, this video isn't really a clean edit because these eyes, this brain just isn't there. So thank you for being patient with me with all of the ums and ands and all the things. And yes, I know there are editing tools out there that have a ton of AI, and I'm going to learn them eventually, but I kind of thought what I have in mind just might be a little bit more fun for you and for me. In the beginning, when I started making YouTube channels, my friends really wanted me to do more with my recipes. They really just want to know how I do all this stuff in the kitchen. And then of course I have friends that are like, you really need to do Bible studies. And so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to blend them both together. And I'm going to do live videos the second and fourth Saturday of every month. Now, this could be an epic fail, or this could just be really epic. You and I are about to find out. But it's one of those ways that I'm going to kind of stretch myself and continue moving in the direction that God set me on, and just trust that I'll get better along the way. And while I'm getting better, I'll be able to share some of the things that I have done to get me better and what I'm doing to continue getting better. Because when you realize that you have a chronic illness, you don't just have to learn how to get better where you are, but what is life going to look like going forward? So I'll be sharing from a psychology standpoint how this therapist is doing it, and also from a biblical standpoint. So we are going to dive hardcore into Psalm 119. It is the longest chapter in the Bible, coming in at 78 verses. And it is made up of 22 8-line stanzas. And each one of those stanzas is a letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And if we actually read it in Hebrew, you would see the letter of the alphabet. So the first stanza is called Aleph. And if we could see that written in Hebrew, you would see every line starts with the Aleph character. And the next one is Bet. And you will see that every line would start with the Bet character. So it's really fascinating in organization and it's words, and it's just, I just absolutely love it. And I feel like for this year, as I'm really trying to like walk out this getting better piece, because now I'm in that piece where I'm enough better where sometimes I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like I'm so close and I'm so desperate and I so want to get there, but I also want to stay faithful to what God is telling me. And so what better way to stay faithful than to go to the psalm that literally tells you how to walk a life that's in alignment with God. And I hope you join me. And basically what we're going to do is literally spend all of 2026. Now, I do recognize God may have other plans. And if he does, we'll pivot. I have become a gold medal pivoter in 2025. I got this down. But as of right now, the plan is the 2nd and 4th of every month, we're going to spend a time in that stanza. And we'll just unpack it, and I'll talk about some highlights for me. I have developed this whole cookie business that right now I can't really do anything with, but I have all of these really great recipes, and I like to share things with people. I don't like to keep it all to myself. So part of the plan is to share my recipes for cookies. You can see I'm baking these cookies right now. Yes, that's me baking them, mixing up the dough, making the magic happen, putting them in the oven, taking them out of the oven, sitting here with them right now. They smell so good. These are my ginger molasses cookies, and the recipe will be down below. Each week I will teach you a recipe. And here's the thing. How perfect is this? My cookies that are just basically always on the menu, they just kind of got general names. I thought, oh, this just sounds like a really great name. But my seasonal cookies, they have biblical names, because I had this idea that I wanted to have the seasonal cookie come out, have the biblical name, and tell you where to go find out information about that character, and kind of talk to you about why I named the cookie after that person. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to teach you how to make those cookies, and I'm going to tell you where you can go in the Bible to learn more. So we'll have our food, we'll have our beverage, and then we get to dive into the word. We get to start spending each session on a stanza and breaking it down, and I'll spend time kind of talking about it, breaking it down, pointing out particular words or settings or context or whatever the Holy Spirit puts on my heart to share with you. I will share that with you, and then give us, you and me, an exercise to do, or a couple of things to do to actually walk out that stanza. Because remember, Psalm 119 is not one of those that you're just wanting to sit around and absorb it and think, oh yeah, that was really good, I feel wiser. No, it's meant to be a psalm that actually shows you how to live in alignment, how to walk the path following God's direction, following God's character, learning how to be obedient and develop your faith. So excited. So anyway, I've kept you long enough. Thank you so much for your patience, for hanging around. I know there was a crazy long video. I really appreciate you more than you will ever know. And I look forward to seeing you in the first live video, which will be that second Saturday in January. I don't know the date. I should have written that down. Did I mention that sometimes my organization is a little wonky with this whole vestibular stuff? But anyway, so it's going to be the second Saturday, and it's going to be at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and it'll be on YouTube. And the Wednesday before that Saturday, I will post the recipe that we're going to be making for that Saturday. So if you want to bake with me, we can do it together. And be patient with me with live videos. I've only done one, and it was, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, and I've slept since then. So it's probably gonna be a little rough in the beginning, but I'll figure it out. Anyway, I'm gonna land the plane. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. And until we meet again, remember to always choose joy. Take care. Bye. I'm gonna eat this cookie. Oh God, these things are so good. It's like Christmas in a cookie. It's Christmas in a cookie. Bye.